If you want to get early access to all of our daily videos, please consider joining our Patreon. I'll put a link below. Here it is on the screen. Again, you get early access to all the daily videos, ad-free, early, before anyone else gets to see them. Have at it. And you can help support the channel. Bam! How we doing, y'all? Got a little cowlick. Who knows about those? It's Thursday, February 20th. I was going to make this video for today, and I thought, it's just a lot of working parts here. So I thought I'd just do a live stream, give us a chance to hang out too. So make sure to send in your super chats, and I'll answer them at the end of the live stream here. But first, we are going to be talking about the Esalen Institute. You're going to hear that name a lot. Yes, you are. And what does it mean? What is it? And why are Jake Barber, Ross Coulthart, and even David Grusch going to this institute? What is the point? So that's what we're going to be diving into, because you see a picture got shared, and that has been the talk of the town. All right, let's see if I can bring it up here. Boom, this picture right here. And it kind of just looks like, honestly, if someone told me this was like a Bible study, I'd believe it, right? That's essentially what it looks like. A little meditation, event. And even like, those hugging events. You ever seen those? I saw those on TV one time. Like people just get together and like cuddle and hug. That's kind of what it looks like too. But yeah, so we're gonna be jumping into this picture because let's see, I don't know if my mouse. Oh, there it is. Okay. So that right there is David Grusch. This is Jake Barber. And this is Ross Coulthart. And this is Alex, who is partners with Jake. And he runs a SALT Foundation. And some people are saying this guy back here is Jack Dorsey, the former owner of Twitter. I don't believe that's the case. And then this guy right here is sort of leading it. He's got the microphone. He's sort of leading the whole thing here. And I've got a little more information about that, and to confirm that these are these people, right? So let's see if we can, you know what, before we get back to that picture, which we're going to get into, okay, we're going to dive into all of this. But first, what I'm going to do is show you a video that'll kind of help explain why we're even covering this, right? Hang on here. I'm getting it. So shout out to Red Panda Koala for putting together these videos. I've got a couple to show you, but a few videos to show you today. Okay, clips, photos. We're gonna dive into this. So let me just play this clip from Ross, and then we'll go from there.
We're talking here about a retreat that took place at Esalen, which is a beautiful location, 3.5, 4 hours south of San Francisco on the west coast of the USA. And it was a gathering of very high net worth individuals and brilliant scientists and some inordinately talented people. And yes, Jake and I attended that retreat. And to some degree, I am bound by confidence. But what I can tell you is I witnessed a psionic who I know, a person with alleged psionic abilities, psychic abilities, list them in a group of people, probably 30 or 40 people, go into a deep meditative state. And I just want to say, this person had said to me at 4 p.m. that afternoon, Ross, we're going to see a blue orb tonight. And I kind of giggled nervously. And anyway, what happened was he starts meditating, and bing, up on the far horizon over the ocean, these two white orbs, slightly golden at times, they start coming towards us. And I won't embarrass this gentleman, but there's a certain person of extraordinary high wealth and extraordinarily big heart who's yelling at these objects going, we love you, come closer, come closer. And the whole audience, you know, we've all been meditating and being invited to sort of try and psychically connect. And I am a miserable failure of a meditator. If anybody wants to teach me how to meditate, I'd be very, very grateful. But something happened, and I suspect it was our psionic operator who made the connection, because he later indicated to me that in his mind, he was inside that object and he was bringing it towards us. And the audience's loving engagement, and I know this sounds hippie-ish, I'm just telling it like I heard it and saw it. But essentially, the loving engagement with that phenomenon encouraged it to come closer. And they did. They came closer and closer and closer. And I'm not going to give away too much, because it's for Alex Clokus and the Skywatcher team to reveal how much they want to reveal, because it's a beautiful story. But basically, I'll tell you this. We were in one part of Esalen, and there were a whole lot of people in the hot springs at Esalen on the other side of the hill. And I'm far too shy as an old guy to go and sit in hot springs with beautiful young women. But there were essentially a bunch of beautiful young people sitting stark naked in these hot springs on the other side of Esalen. And all of a sudden, they see these blue shapes coalescing in front of them. And sure enough, we got images from the hill looking down of a blue orb. A beautiful, at times octagonal looking blue orb, which kind of hovered near the naked boys and girls in the hot springs. And then it went and landed on the beach. And it was hilarious, because I'd said to the lovely young psionic, I'd said to him, well, mate, that was pretty amazing, but I didn't see any blue orb. And he was a bit puzzled. And then literally at the moment that we're talking about the fact that we hadn't seen the blue orb, it turned out it had manifested itself to these beautiful young people on the other side of the hill who were all stark naked, and probably, I think, in their naked innocence, more attractive to the phenomenon. I have to admit, I'd be going and having a look at them rather than me and anybody else with clothes on. And it was quite beautiful, because these people were all very touched by that experience. And yes, there was a blue orb, exactly as was predicted, that showed itself to all of these people. It was quite beautiful. And yes, it did manifest more overtly because of a loving, welcoming presence, which I find fascinating.
Ross was like, guys, I got two blue orbs to show you. Jumps in the hot tub. Just kidding, y'all. Just a joke. All right, so there you go. There you have it. That's basically part of the gist here, right? So you've got this Esalen Institute, but basically it comes back to the Skywatcher program, right? Which is Jake Barber. He was featured with Ross Coulthart on News Nation, right? And this idea that they could summon orbs and UFOs and craft and even bring them down, telepathically communicate, right? Well, it seems like a lot of this is taking place at the Esalen Institute as well, right? And again, the real big question is, why is David Grusch there, right? So let's go back to that picture. Let's bring that up, right? So why is, hang on. A few things I got to bring up. All right. So, all right. So let's see if I can bring this closer so everyone can see here. That's as close as I can get it. Well, yeah. So we've got. Oh, why can't I go in closer? Let me see. Oh yeah, I can. Yeah. Okay. Here. All right. So on the right, you've got David Grusch, Jake Barber sitting right next to him. This guy, I don't know. He looks like he's from S.H.I.E.L.D. You remember that TV show? I don't know. Remember that guy's name. And then you've got Ross Coulthart sitting here. And again, but why is David Grusch here? Right? What is David Grusch doing? So he must be a part of this, or at least know about it. How long has he been working with Jake Barber and his team, right? The Skywatcher team. Again, the Skywatcher team, let me just reiterate, the Skywatcher team has promised disclosure back in January in 12 months. So by December of 2025 or January of 2026, before then, sometime before then, between now and then, they have promised full disclosure, global disclosure to the world, right? Provable with the help of the American government. Again, some of the biggest claims I've ever heard in the UFO community, might be the biggest claim with this much push behind it, because there is the whole UFO community, all the big wigs, all the UFO celebrities are all behind this movement and this guy and this, Jake Barber and his team and Skywatcher and sort of the psionic summoning, right? Psionic is the word of 2025. And the Esalen Institute apparently, dives into that, right? They can summon orbs, right? Communicate. Now, let me see something here. Let's go over here. So right here, this guy right here in the middle there with the beard, they're saying that that's Jack Dorsey. I don't think that that's Jack Dorsey, personally, but it could be. It does look like him, but that hair on top doesn't match, and the beard is a little different too. But definitely right here, sitting near the front, is Alex Clokus, again, who runs the SALT Foundation, who is part of Skywatcher. He had the famous interview with Gary Nolan saying, 100%, non-humans are here on Earth, right? And then he had the famous interview with Carl Nell, right, stating, no doubt, remember that famous line, no doubt, we are not alone, right? And remember, originally David Grusch was going to speak at the SALT conference, but replaced by Carl Nell. But you do have David Grusch hanging out here, but why isn't Carl Nell hanging out at this institute? That's interesting. But David Grusch certainly is. All right, we'll come back to this. Hang on. Stay with me. Check this out. So I went to Instagram to find, what's the guy's name? Zach Bell. All right. And he's kind of the one that runs that thing. He was the one with the microphone in the picture, right? So this is his Instagram. And here, clearly, you can see a picture of Alex Clokus, right? So there's no doubt that that is him at this event. And these are just different people, right? Check this out. Who's that? That's Ross Coulthart, right? So, and again, he's not hiding the fact that he went to this thing and saw it, and he's a part of it. And, look, it looks like they're having fun, eating fresh fruit, playing guitars, I mean, again, it just sounds like, look at this. Where we go. Spirituality, consciousness, and psychedelics. So that's basically, the idea, right? Take some stuff and then communicate with other beings. There's just a lot of problems with that, and look, I had a great time in my 20s. I was in a band. I partied. I've been around the block. I was in the restaurant industry. I get it. Okay. I get having fun, but this is just taking it to a whole nother level here. Right. That's just, I don't see how people are going to get on board with, wait, so you took some shrooms or something and then saw aliens. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of unusual. And people do that with DMT. And I just always find that so problematic. Now, again, people will state that, well, that's how you break through, Patrick, right, to this other dimension. You've got to take these, you got to adjust your chemical compound in your brain. And that's how you can get to this other dimension, right? But that's not what they're saying. They're not saying they're going to another dimension. They're saying by taking some of these psychedelics, I guess it helps them communicate with, So I guess the question I would ask, do Jake Barber and his team take psychedelics when they do their Skywatcher events? Because that's never been asked before or confirmed or denied. It's never been asked. That's probably going to be pretty problematic. if that's the case. If they're taking psychedelics to help, you know, I mean, some people are going to be cool with it and have no problem. And I guess at the end of the day, if the results are there, I don't really care either. I mean, to each their own. I'm all about freedom. I live in Texas. Like, listen, do your thing, do your business. I do my business. I'm all about it. But you know, so look, let's and that's where that original picture came from. The other picture I showed you came from Zach Bell's Instagram, which he might have deleted because I couldn't find it anymore. And I actually had reached out to Zach and sent him a DM, seeing if he wanted to come on the show and talk. And I don't see the picture anymore. So what happened? The main picture that everyone was talking about, right? So I'm not sure what's going on there. But let's look at something else real quick. All right. Let's look at the Esalen website. Let's go full screen here. All right. So we've got, explore your potential. Esalen is a holistic retreat and nonprofit educational institute established in 1962 and considered the epicenter of the human potential movement. We welcome visitors with advanced reservations for workshops and messages to our campus in Big Sur, California. And there you can see the campus looks gorgeous. I mean, that looks absolutely beautiful, right? Embark on a personal journey, featured workshops, but I don't see anything about, connecting. So about track 2, message school, origin stories, Esalen tribe, founders. Let's go look at the founders here. Where it all began. Richard Price, Michael Murphy. Any of these names ring a bell to y'all? The goals of the Esalen Center for Theory and Research span a wide range of commitments, projects, and passions. One of these is the development of a new worldview that can make sense of all of this in a transformative practice that can embody it, since vision without action is lame. What? And action without vision is blind. I bet they all clapped when someone came up with that. They were like, oh my God, that's so good. That's going on the website, y'all. Vision without action is lame, and action without vision is blind. Oh my God, we're going to blow people's minds. CTR seeks to nourish and support an emerging school in which theory, research, and practice will co-evolve to embody our latent super nature. I think we're kind of getting the idea. Esalen Massage and Bodywork Association. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. All right, so we've got all the different people here that are part of this. Probably great people, I'm sure. Sacred Land. Our Big Sur campus is a community-created space that resides on land that was historically inhabited by the Esalen tribe and is currently co-steward with the Esalen tribe of Monterey County. Oh, man, people are going to talk about that, right? Let's click on this. What is that? Preserving our past, protecting our future. Join the Esalen tribe of Monterey County, restoring sacred lands, cultural heritage. So it sounds like Native American, right? Hey, I'm all about it. Yeah, definitely it is. So look, there's also that connection, right? In the UFO community, that Native American blood kind of connects. They're on native ground. I'm sure that's all a part of it. I'm sure they talk about that stuff. Let's go back to this website, because I don't massage ways to visit. I mean, they don't journal podcast. Oh, they got a podcast. Let's just see what's up here. Voices of Esalen. Okay. Don't see anything about like orbs, and it doesn't seem to be a big part of the website, right? But again, the bigger question is here is, does this matter? All right, because people were like showing this picture and be like, oh, boom, bam, got him. And it's like, well, wait, got him on what? I mean, they're just like, I have zero problem with people getting together, meditating and hanging out. I mean, people can do what they want, getting together. And if they think there's something in norms, and then that's what they're doing. Like, I don't care. Do your thing. Why am I getting involved? Right. But it is interesting, right, to discuss, because we're in the UFO community and because Jake Barber and his team have made such tremendous claims, right? Probably the most tremendous ever made in the UFO community. Yeah, that's kind of worth looking into, right? Because they're asking for people to join them. They're asking to do these things. And I think it's worth just talking about. So I've got another video to show y'all. Stay with me here. I've got two videos. One I'm going to show you of Ross Coulthart again. So stay with me. God, I apologize, y'all. This should go quicker, right? All right. Let's take a look at this video. Again, more talking about this event, who was there, what was going on, because apparently, you know what? Let me just play this and then we'll come back and talk about it on the other end, because this is a big part of Jake Barber and Skywatcher team's story. Okay. It really is. All right. Let's play this video.
There was this demonstration of, I don't know what you call it, seeing without eyes.
Right. I'm familiar with that.
I've never seen this before.
Right.
And it was a family of Indians, an Indian family who I think they'd moved from India to Germany. And the conference organizers had flown them in from Germany for this conference. And there were two beautiful little kids. I think there was an 8-year-old boy and an 11 or 12-year-old girl. And they had been trained from, I think, about the age of 5 or 6 at the school in India, or maybe the school in Germany, not sure which. And they'd been taught how to use these powers. And this included the ability to literally read a book blind.
Right.
And so I've got video of it, and I'm not showing it because of confidentiality reasons, but it's just stunning. It's amazing. The little girl was asked to put on a blindfold, and we all checked the blindfold. The blindfold was a special type of blindfold, incredibly thick, no trick slots in it, no way that she could see through it. And her eyes were covered, and then we randomly went and selected a book for her to read. Absolutely no way she would have known the book or been in any way pre-rehearsed for what she was going to read. And she literally reads the book. And what's interesting is a lot of people said, well, maybe she is seeing through the blindfold. And so then there was a demonstration of her ability to see even from the back of her head. So they made her stand with her back to a drawing that a woman was doing on a piece of paper. And it was a tree from memory with certain numbers of leaves in particular positions with 3 or 4 birds around it. And then there's no way she saw that drawing being done. And then she came in, took her blindfold off with that area covered, and she completely replicated absolutely the tree and the location of the birds. And all she would have seen, if she was seeing anything, was, you know, if she had photoreceptors in the back of her head, maybe she might have seen it. And then the little boy, he loves drones. He was a cute little kid. And so imagine you've got all these high net worth people in the room, you know, and they're all sitting on the floor agog. And this little boy puts this blindfold on and then flies the drone in between people in the room, like in between the heads of the people.
No way.
Flying this drone at speed, and then zooms it up to the roof and zooms it down to the floor again, and he's flying in and amongst people. And I asked the little girl, I said, so what do you see
Right.
when you see? And she said, it's kind of like I can see through the blindfold, but she said it's more than that. I can see far away. And essentially what she's describing is a capacity to remote view.
Right.
And the school that these kids come from teaches that all children, if they're started early enough, can be taught this ability, that it's an inherent capability in humans. And this is what I find fascinating, is that modern science for years has been mocking, deriding notions of telepathy, psi phenomena. And yet when I started digging into it, you can't dismiss it out of hand. I mean, there have been controlled tests done to prove that these kids are doing things that are real. There was a gathering at Esalen,
Okay.
and a lot of very high net worth individuals who were interested in suppression of non-human intelligence attended. What happened?
I think something epic happened. I think something happened that, if it was fully documented and understood, would go in the history books.
I had a feeling last week that that was historical.
It felt absolutely historic. What you had was a combination of the world's leading, like most frontier scientists. You had people that were top experts in all their fields. And then you had a variety of fields that was outrageous. We had neurosurgeons, doctors in neurosurgery. We had physicists. We had high net worth individuals in the billions that were extremely open-minded and had a frontier attitude towards all this. We had mystics. We had psychic kids. We had children from Germany that could harness and actually showcase their ability to perform telekinesis, their ability to psychically see things with their mind, and were able to prove that to all of us. We also deployed some of our psionic assets that we've used and are part of our new team with Skywatcher, and we summoned UAP. We had the UAP come and fly around and visit and hang out with us and take off.
And I have to say, I saw it too.
Yeah.
And it was profound.
Well, that's not telekinesis, Jake. Telekinesis is moving things with your mind. But regardless, that's interesting. So I've got something to show you. Stay with me here. So this idea that blind reading, right? This is becoming a big thing, a big part of it, right? Let me show y'all something. I actually got a couple of videos, or just one, actually. Hang on. Let me see. All right, let's watch this. This is a trailer. It says, train yourself to read with blindfolds on. Superhuman film.
You are witnessing children reading and playing, completely blindfolded.
The other dragons were purple with smooth, shiny scales.
It might seem like a magic trick, and when I first saw it, I thought the same thing. This can't be true. But what if I told you that you too can train yourself to see without your physical eyes?
Hello, Mister.
Anyone can do this. And if we can train our brains to see with the blindfold on, then we can also cultivate this higher power to make our brain do just about anything. So how do we do it? There are a few different methodologies that all achieve the same result because they're based on the same principle. If you believe it, you can achieve it.
I can do this. Anybody can do this. Everything's your attitude.
Green, excellent. Pink, marvelous.
In your head, you just need to think
Please may I turn my energy on?
So then how are these children and adults seeing in pitch black masks? They're able to see because they truly believe that there is light present in the environment around them. They visualized that there was light coming in from the environment, piercing through their mask, and soon enough, the light became so bright that they could see as if the masks weren't even there.
Tell me what's on this card.
Teacup.
Belief can supersede what the brain thinks and does. It's the ultimate validation that our consciousness can make our physical brain do exactly what we want it to do. We all have the power to achieve and manifest these superhuman abilities. So it's not seeing is believing, but rather believing is seeing.
Okay. So that's interesting. You imagine the light around you piercing through the mask, and then the mask isn't even there. So that's how it's done. That's how they're saying that this is done, right? This is how you can see without it. Now, let's be real. There are blind people all across the globe who get along just fine and can do all kinds of things. Your other senses become heightened, apparently. But yeah, I mean, this is interesting. I don't know. Those quick cuts of people just getting the color right or a word right, like you don't see all the wrong ones either. Like, I don't know what's going on there. That's just, it's for the trailer. I get it. So that's interesting. But
We're at Dave's Hot.
see, I've heard of this. Hang on, yeah. I've heard of this. Let's get into this video right here. You see, I've heard of this stuff in India. In fact, I've seen videos about it being debunked, where they do this thing where they can blind read and, that sort of thing, memorize a book, whatever. So I don't know. I haven't watched this video. I literally just found it. So let's just watch a little bit of it and see what's going on here.
Bro, what on earth are you doing? Oh, didn't see you there, bro. A blindfold is the last thing you want while reading. Oh, this? I was practicing, bro. Practicing what? Say I took this course where they optimized the power of my brain, so now I can read without looking. You wanna see? Sure. Okay. Once upon a time, long, long ago, there was a king. Bro, the lights, can you turn them back on? I thought you could read without looking. Why do you need the lights? Because Hi, my name's Pranav. You're watching Science is Dope. Shark Tank, that show where if you manage to convince the judges, even if it means fooling them for 5 or 10 minutes, then you get to walk home with a prize money so huge that you can send all your kids to private engineering colleges on management quota. Every Indian parent's dream. I'm going to talk about this family that tried to scam the judges on episode 2 of Shark Tank. Fortunately though, none of the sharks gave these people money and they walked away empty-handed. Unfortunately, they got to publicize themselves on a show being watched across the whole country. So what do? How does this scam work? We'll get into that, but first, I feel really bad for these judges, man. Based on just a couple of minutes of listening to a pitch, they have to part with so much money. I can't imagine who.
All right, let's skip through.
Sharks, मैं आपको एक बहुत ही अद्भुत scientific magic दिखाने वाला हूँ.
The word scientific is simply being thrown around by him throughout the whole pitch. Just to give himself some credibility, he never explains any science behind what he's about to show. He gets one of the sharks to blindfold both girls, and there's some cotton below the blindfold to cover both eyes to show you that they aren't peeping. The girls are then made to guess a bunch of stuff without looking, and they guess the objects, their color, and even read some stuff like the serial number on a currency note. The sharks are really impressed by what they see. And the scammer then reveals that what they've witnessed is a scientific technique from Japan called brain optimization. He's running courses on teaching kids how to do this, and that's what his company does. And he asked the sharks for investment. The sharks all deny him, saying that what he showed them looks too gimmicky. But even though he might not have gotten the money he wanted, he got the publicity he needed to grow his scam. Let's first see how this works before we talk about the publicity part of it. So I've got here with me a blindfold exactly the same way they had in the show, with a cotton and everything to help me cover my eyes. And I've got a deck of cards here with me, which I'm gonna randomize and see if I can pull this trick off. As you can see, I've got the blindfold on and the cotton is completely covering my eyes. I can't see anything. And I'm gonna take the deck, okay, and I'm gonna completely randomize it and like see if I can pick a random card, this one, let's say, and see if I can there's the Eight of Hearts, and let's see if I can do more. Take this. There's the Queen of Spades, right?
How's he doing this?
Queen of Spades. And again, I'm gonna pick a random card. You can already see it. I'm gonna smell it. That's the 10 of Spades, if I'm not wrong. So without any prior training in any brain optimization or anything, I was able to guess exactly what the cards were. So how exactly did I do it? Let's think about this rationally. The only light sensitive cells in the human body are in the eye, on the back of the eye, on the retina. The only way you can see anything is if light falls on the retina and the image reaches the brain. So the only way I was able to see those cards was if I was actually seeing them with my eyes, even though I made you think I couldn't see. See these tiny gaps between the cotton and my nose? I can actually see through that gap. You would think that the cotton covering the eyes would completely prevent me from seeing, and that's what I thought too, until I tried it out for myself and discovered that the cotton actually makes it easier for you to see. The gap is wider with the cotton than without the cotton. You can try it out for yourself and see what
You're saying cotton.
You can get a blindfold and a cotton in a supermarket or a medical store or whatever. If you see the original Shark Tank episode, you'll see that these exact gaps are present, and what these girls are doing by smelling objects is they're bringing closer to their line of sight so that they can see the objects. And
now, I will admit that doesn't completely debunk every single story out there like that. But this idea that if you blindfold yourself, you can't see anymore, people see through the bottom, people have all kinds of tricks for doing that. Reflections, I mean, there's all kinds of things. And I'm not saying it's not possible, right? I get it. We don't understand the power of our mind, consciousness. I get it. We don't understand all those things. But that doesn't mean just anything is possible, right? And I don't know, are these people, these children that are going, are they made to believe that they have capabilities they don't actually have? Now, telekinesis is different, right? Now, even though that can be hoax too, that is what would need to be shown, right? Children from Germany who have telekinesis. Again, telekinesis is moving objects with your mind, right? But blind reading has been debunked so many times, right? So I don't know about that. That one's a tough one for me. And I guess at the end of the day, with all of this, it just comes down to what you want to believe. What do you want to spend your time on in your life? Right. And to that degree, I say, do what you want, right? Everyone should just do what they want. If this is something you believe in and you want to go to meditation circles and meditate and try to communicate with orbs and do things, I mean, have at it. My only issue and question is Jake Barber and his Skywatcher team getting funding from our government, right? Tax dollars or wherever they're getting it, clearly funding from somewhere. And promising disclosure to us in the next 12 months, right? They're making these big claims. Now, again, I've always said, hey, I'll wait. And if it happens, it happens. And I'd be more than happy to sit here and go, yay, we got it. All right, cool, sweet. I mean, I totally get it, right? But there's nothing wrong with questioning this, wondering about it, looking into it. You shouldn't just take someone's word if someone tells you they have supernatural capabilities, right? What's wrong? What's wrong with like questioning that and looking into it, especially if they're asking something from you? And the Skywatcher team is asking something from us, right? So then, therefore, we get to ask questions, right? Now, if they were just doing their thing and not coming out publicly, and it wouldn't matter, but they're out here making big claims and asking for help and asking for, help with the government and, all of this. It's just interesting. Jake Barber and his team, it's almost like they picked Esalen Institute, or I'm not sure why that particular place. Why are they working with them? Like, what is going on? And is that the future? Is that where we're taking disclosure? Meditating to communicate with the orbs, right? But then it brings into question all the other UFO stories you've heard your whole life. They can't all be true. If this is the way, then some of the other stories are just not true, right? So this is an interesting step in this direction with all of this for me, if I'm being honest. Because again, it's gone straight to psychic connections with the entities and summoning them, communicating with them. And, on that big Skywatcher event on News Nation, they had these things on their eyes. And it's just all it is, right? Even at the Esalen Institute, I found pictures on people wearing the same things that the Skywatcher people wear, right? It's just like stuff you can buy on Amazon, honestly. All the equipment they use and stuff, it's just stuff you can get on Amazon. It's literally nothing special. And in fact, they have this one thing that they wear that's like some computer interface or something. All it is something to track your brain activity while you sleep. It's literally something you can get online, for a couple $100. Now, that doesn't mean, anything in the sense that doesn't mean it's not true or anything like that. But when you hear other people of Jake Barber's team, i.e. Michael Herrera, talk about that these psionic people need to be hooked up to special machines, given drugs to communicate with the beings, and then those people don't survive that, right? Why do they need to do that if you could just meditate by Big Sur, California? You know what I mean? There's naked girls in hot tubs that can communicate with orbs. So why are we going to the Indonesian jungle after a tsunami and picking people up in alien recreation vehicles, UFOs that are reverse engineered from alien craft? We go pick them up in that and bring them back to the States to then hook them up to machines and drug them up to do the same thing that, naked girls in California can do. It doesn't make any sense. All right. See, that's the problem. And if there's multiple ways, the saying is there's different ways to skin a cat. Okay, I get that. But if that's possible, why are you having to do this other atrocious act, right? That again, Jake Barber, Michael Herrera, all these guys are saying exist. Dr. Stephen Greer, they're saying these programs exist behind the scenes, these black site programs, and they're implicating the U.S. government. Look, I'm all about keeping the U.S. government accountable, but I love this country. I'm also not for just making stuff up about America that's not true, right? What's the point of that? Why are we accusing our government of, again, they're not perfect. I get it. But why are we accusing them of things they didn't do or there's no proof of? So now you're accusing the American government and these black, sites that are on American soil, some on foreign soil, that have these crazy psionic asset programs, when again, all you need to do is go to the Esalen Institute and sit down with some hippies and communicate with orbs. It works the exact same way. If Jake Barber and his Skywatcher team can do it in a field, what they call the range, what is the point, right? See, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. None of that adds up. None of that story adds up about the black sites and taking refugees from across the world who have special abilities and bringing them to these secret sites, drugging them up, hooking them up to machines to communicate with UFOs, get the UFOs within view, and then they shoot them down. I mean, what are we talking about? What exactly? And then just a normal person can go do it, right? And you can talk to other people. I've interviewed James Iandoli, who participates in CE5, and there's even people in the vetted community who interact, who perform that activity, right? Close encounter, fifth kind. They don't have any special abilities. They don't charge anything. They can just do it. They don't need anything special to get it done. So right? How does that make sense? How does that make sense? I mean, why not just put out a flyer? You want people to volunteer to come do this. Why do we need to go take people across the globe? It doesn't make sense. That part of the story doesn't make sense. And that's why I wanted to dive into this today, right? To just show, look, there's all these just normal people doing these things. I mean, you got documentaries coming out, Superhuman, with kids playing and can do these tricks and, all this stuff. Like, it just doesn't add up, right? It doesn't add up that to perform that action, that's how we're going to break it down. That's the top of the pyramid. Communicating telepathically with NHI. That's the top of the pyramid, right? And from there, as you go down, you realize, just your average person can learn it over here, right? Your average person can learn how to just telepathically communicate with NHI. But then over here, you've got Jake Barber and his Skywatcher team saying, well, there's, these either the American government or secret organizations that go and kidnap people across the globe, bring them back, and hook them up to machine. Again, everything I just said, right? But they literally accomplish the same thing. Remember, top of the pyramid? They literally accomplish the same thing, which is telepathically communicating with NHI and the orbs. So what's the point? It doesn't make any sense that would be going on if you can just get random people off the street to do it, right? Now, there's two parts to that story, too, of these secret organizations that get these people across the globe. On one hand, you got people like Michael Herrera who say, they're dying from this, right? Too many drugs, too many, they're dying from that. Now, on the other hand, you have Jake and saying like, well, they don't mind coming. They get to come to America and have a good life, and they get taken care of. Their families are taken care of, all while they work secretly with the Psionic asset program. Right? But again, why do we do that? You just go to the Esalen Institute and, recruit a couple, you know what I mean? California hippies to do it. And look, I'm a hippie too at heart. So I'm not making fun of that term. I'm a hippie too. I'm all about connecting with nature and getting out. And, I've walked a whole country on foot before. So if anyone tries to question my search for greater truths, right? How many of you have done that, right? I walked 550 miles on foot across all of Spain from one border to the ocean, stepping foot in some of the oldest cathedrals in the world, right? Having many spiritual and enlightening, encounters, if you will, or experiences, right? But not like spiritual in the sense of just connecting with Mother Nature, right? Just sitting on top of a mountain, looking at clouds below me, just in awe, right? If you want to see the supernatural, just go hiking or camping out in the middle of nowhere, right? Go out to the middle of nowhere where there's no light pollution and look up at the sky and see all the stars and realize how tiny we are in all of this. That is a spiritual connection too. That has nothing to do with anything supernatural, right? Like outside of our normal abilities. And why isn't that enough? But I guess at the end of the day, it's just about telepathically communicating with NHI and controlling their craft, right? That's another part of it, right? Controlling the craft. If that can just be done with regular people, why is this other program happening? Right? That's the whole point of this video. Why is that happening? Why are we taking people? They don't want to address that. I remember when I was looking into Michael Herrera's story, and I'm the only guy that has Michael Herrera's team leader, an interview with him, Nathan, right? It's the only interview he's ever done on my channel, who completely, dismisses Michael Herrera's story because he was his team leader with Michael Herrera on the day that allegedly he had this encounter, in Indonesia, right? But after that is when Michael Herrera's story changed, right? And it became, he went to this event, Dr. Stephen Greer, 2023, before David Grusch came out, and Jake Barber was there, right? Meet Stephen Greer. Jake Barber went there to turn people in. Apparently, he was going there to find whistleblowers and turn them in. And Michael Herrera's story changed his life. What? He heard that story and said, I gotta switch sides, right? And then he tells Michael Herrera the real story of what they were picking up out there in the jungle. They weren't getting drugs or guns. They were getting people, psionic people, right? And then, boom, there goes the hoopla, right? From there, that's the story starts to grow. But I remember having Joey Is Not My Name, that's how he goes by online, who originally came out as this independent investigator of Michael Herrera's story. I have since come to the conclusion that he is far from independent or objective, in my opinion. Hey, my opinion only. But I brought him on to talk about Michael Herrera because he knew his whole story. He communicated with Michael Herrera, seen evidence, private evidence, tried to show me private stuff that I couldn't reveal to the public. And I said no, right? Because I don't want in on that game. He did it to a few other podcasters. No problem. That's their decision. My decision was not to do that. But he came on the show and we talked, and, we were kind of debating Michael Herrera's story, and he only wanted to focus on the Indonesia part. And I'm like, no, what about this other stuff Michael is saying, right? That I played clips of him on Gaia, Michael Herrera going on Gaia and talking about these psionic asset programs and hooking people up to machines and them dying and all this stuff. And he's like, doesn't want to talk about that. That has nothing to do with anything. But you see, Joey Is Not My Name. It has everything to do with this story. And it was so strange that he didn't want to address that. He only wanted to address the Indonesian part of Michael Herrera's story. Right. And I just find this all crazy, if I'm being honest. To each their own. Everyone believe what they want. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I will admit that. But I'm not making any claims. They are, right? The Skywatcher team, Jake Barber, all these guys, they're the ones making claims. If they were just sitting on their couch and doing their jobs, no big deal, but they're not. They're out in public making claims, making promises to us, right? The global audience, that they're going to deliver something. So if they do deliver it, great. But I got to be honest, it's not looking good. What's going to happen if in 12 months or less than that, where the time comes and we don't get those answers? Because how many times in the UFO community has promises been made and they're not delivered on, and there's no accountability? Because we move on, we forget. If you remember, 2024 was deemed the year of disclosure. Last year was going to be when everything happened. Because I remember at the end of 2023 what people were saying for 2024. And then 2024, end of 2024 comes, nobody's talking about any of that. They're talking about these new things that are coming out, because this is the year. This is the time. What is Jake Barber and his team going to do when they can't provide a UFO, right? If you're saying you can telepathically communicate with UFOs and bring them down, why can't you go retrieve it and show it to the public? This is the UFO. Right? Because otherwise, that just makes no sense. That's like saying, let's go boar hunting and I'll shoot some boars. I'll show you. But then you never deliver the boar that you shot. You just say, I shot the boar. What boar? I didn't see a boar. Yeah, it's over there. I shot it. Promise you. I got it. Bullseye. Boom. No need to worry about it. But then you can't go get the boar and show that you got the kill. Does that make sense? Like, it's essentially the same thing. You're hunting UFOs. And you can't provide the hunt, the fruit of that labor. Just seems odd. And again, I don't understand the difference. If just your average person can do this, why do you need these other things? Why are we going and grabbing people from across the globe? that just doesn't make any sense. So are we being taken for a ride? Maybe. But what's the point? Why take us for a ride? What is accomplished by that? Right? Let's say this is all made up. What is the goal of making this up and telling us this? You know, it really just comes down to intention. Do these people really believe they're doing the things they're doing, or do they knowingly, like, they know it's not real, but they're selling it on you, you know, selling it to you anyway, right? Like a used car salesman, right? It's like, I don't know. It's hard to judge someone's intention and their true heart. It's almost impossible, to be honest with you. You can have your, you know, your intuition and, you know, your BS meter, as they say, right? Or all these different things. But at the end of the day, it's impossible to know someone's true heart. And, you know, I don't know. Time will tell if Skywatcher and the team, Jake Barber and all of them, their true intention is not to lie to us, not to make this stuff up. They actually believe it. I can't, if I'm being honest, I can't really tell if they believe it. Some people I listen to and I go, they believe what they're telling me. Doesn't mean it's true. It just, I believe that they believe it to be true. I can't tell that with them, if I'm being honest. Me personally. I don't know. Is my BS meter better than yours? I don't know. I don't know. I can, in my life, it's just always something's off with somebody. I may not know exactly what it is, but something's off. And that makes me question things, right? When something's just off, doesn't make sense. And this doesn't make sense. This story that's being sold of, you know, these secret programs to get these hybrid psionic people, when again, the average person can do it. That's going to have to click somehow. Somehow they're going to have to make sense of that and explain that, you know, because you just see a lot of things stretched, right? You see a lot of things that look good, sound good, sound plausible, right? And then you're sold on, be open-minded, leave yourself a path out. Go ahead, be skeptical, but leave yourself a path out. Right? Jake Barber likes to say that. Leave yourself a path back out to the truth. Well, I would say to them, how about yourself? Leave yourself a path back to the reality. Right? What about that? See, the onus is always put on the people not making the claims and questioning it. The onus is put on them to prove it. Prove it's fake. Wait a second. You need to prove it's real. Not I need to prove it's fake. But at the end of the day, no problem. Data is data. Things are things. Go out, have fun, do your thing. And I will wait for the results. But if the results don't come, what's going to happen? What are we going to do? Right? I got one more clip to show you, and then we're going to get to some questions. Shout out to Red Panda Koala for the 2 clips I played of Ross Coulthart. If you want up-to-date, I mean up-to-date, to the minute information on UFO stuff from all across, all kinds of different stuff, follow Red Panda Koala on Twitter. I highly recommend it. But let me show one other video here. How do I? Okay, hang on. Let's bring this up. Boom. Boom. All right, so there's a gentleman named Stuart Nelson, okay, and he's going to describe his encounter with 3 golden orbs in Esalen, Big Sur, okay? So this is from the Esalen, all of that, all right? So this is a guy, nothing to do with Skywatcher or anything, at least not that I know, but talking about this, right? Let me play this video. Just listen up. Here it is. Stuart Nelson, Vice President, Institute for Spirituality and Health. Let's hear him talk about these 3 orbs that he encountered.
I'm a pretty skeptical person. I'm not usually open to this kind of thing. I was just standing there kind of minding my own business, just looking up at the stars. All of a sudden, I got real quiet and still, and everything else got real quiet and still. and my field of vision narrowed, and I watched these 3 golden orbs emerge from the ground and rise up and hover at about waist height. I was kind of locked into them. I was really, really drawn to them, but I wasn't scared. I was really peaceful and calm, and I just kind of watched these really beautiful, kind of indescribably luminescent orbs float there. Henry Miller used to write about these Big Sur glowing balls that people would see around. These orbs really opened my mind up. It really shifted my thinking on that kind of encounter with stuff that I can't explain.
There's a historical fact that is relevant here. Esalen was named after the Esalen Indians, who for centuries inhabited this land. The ground from which Stewart saw the orbs rise is an ancient Indian burial ground.
That's the end of that video. So again, the Esalen Institute is set on land that was part of the Esalen tribe, and it's native, sort of protected land. And if these orbs come out on their own, why do we even need to call them? You know, seems kind of interesting. They could just call them and they come out. I don't know. But again, hey, I'm open to it all. At the end of the day, I don't know anything. That's the only thing I know. I don't know anything, and I'm not even sure of that. Right. So I'm always open. I'm just asking questions, wondering, curious. Again, people making big claims, making big promises to us. Why not ask? Right? What's going on? So, all right. I'm going to, after the stream, I'll put all the links in the description that I have of everything I've shown today, so you can check it out on your own if you want. What I am going to do now is get to some questions, some super chats. If you have a question, throw in a super chat, and I'm going to answer them now. All right, here we go. Legend says, haha, love vetted. Legend, member for 5 months. Thank you, Legend. You're the man. All right, Android Paranormal. Telepathy Tapes has episodes discussing blind reading seeing. Only way it's fake is if parents train their severely disabled child to fake and lie. It's also been verified by psychiatrist Dr. Powell. Only way it's fake is if parents trained their severely disabled child to fake and lie. Well, that's not true. That's not the only way it could be faked. There are many ways it could be faked. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, I'm open to it all. I don't know, right, what the truth is. But if I see things that just my intuition, something throws off and something feels off, I'm going to say something. And, you know, I hate hearing the thing like, well, you're just not ready for it, Patrick. Your ego and you're this and you can't let it go and you're not open-minded and you don't believe in it. So therefore you don't see it. And, you know, like it's my fault. You know what I mean? I'm the problem. You know what I mean? It's so ridiculous. Like if it's true whether I believe in it or not. The sun is shining right now, whether I believe it to be true or not. See, truth doesn't care if you believe in it or not. Does that make sense? So it should have nothing to do with me or my ego or this or that. Why am I a part of the equation for the truth? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right? If something is true, it can be proven over and over and over and over to the end of time, right? Easily, in fact. So I don't know at the end of the day, but if it's true, it should be easily provable. Not I've got a, leap of faith like they do in religion, right? You got to have a leap of faith. You can get close, but then there's just this last little part to get you to that belief. And you got to leap. You got to jump over the void. You got to jump over the void of inconsistency, right? To get there. It's like, there's just a few things that don't add up. Well, just jump. If you just get over that, it's true. It's kind of like string theory when they put together all the different dimensions to, like, well, if we add this many dimensions, it all makes sense. Well, okay, but that doesn't mean that's what it is. You kind of, it's like reverse math of sorts. But I get the point here by Android. And at the end of the day, I get it. People get very sensitive to this, right? If you question these capabilities or these abilities, the answer then becomes, well, then the kids, they're forcing their kids to lie. Then, is that what you're saying, Patrick? It's like, no, calm down. I'm not saying that, right? Why is that the case? Why can't I be skeptical about it? Why can't I question it? Why do I just have to outright believe it because you believed it? Your belief shouldn't require anyone else's belief to be true. Does that make sense? So many people lean on other people for their beliefs, right? If you believe it to be true, then you believe it to be true. If you think all this is real, then good for you. Great. It shouldn't matter to you if someone else doesn't believe it. Why do you care? And vice versa. I don't care that people believe it. I could care less. You do what you want with your time. It's that simple. And again, like I said, at the end of the day, I don't know the full scope of the mind. I'm an idiot. I don't know the full scope of consciousness. I don't know the full scope of knowledge. I don't know the full scope of anything. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it is. And again, if one day this is all proven true and it's this, then great. I will be here for it. All right. But up to this point, me personally, this is just my personal journey. I have seen zero evidence is compelling enough to me to convince me that this is real. One, blind reading is real, that we can telepathically communicate with these entities. We can track them. We can bring them down. I have seen zero evidence that's compelling that would make me believe that. Zero. All right. Now, to be fair to that, I haven't actually gone out and tried CE5 meditation or this Esalen Institute thing. Or, I haven't tried that. So to be fair to that, it would be hard for me to say I outright don't believe it and never will. I would never say that because, again, I haven't gone and tried it for myself. And just because something isn't true today doesn't mean it won't be true tomorrow. So I'll never just outright say this is all BS. I'm just saying up to this point, I've seen nothing to convince me, not even to go try it. There's nothing even compelling enough for me to go try it, to be honest with you. And I've tried things like this where you meditate, you sit around, you try to communicate. We did that in church when I was younger, right? You literally sit down and pray, meditate, and try to communicate with a non-human being, i.e. God. It's the same thing, right? You set yourself apart. I've done that. I've tried. Nothing ever happened, but boy, did I try. And I get it, put your money where your mouth is, right? If you're not willing to go try it, calling it BS is kind of BS. I get that. And that's why I'm not calling this BS. I'm just saying there's some inconsistencies that are curious to me. And again, I've seen nothing compelling enough to even make me want to go try it to see if that's what's going on, And if I'm being real, how can anyone assert to you that this is safe for you mentally to take psychedelics and try to communicate with non-human entities? Right. And then other people tell you don't need psychedelics. You can just do it. But how can you guarantee my safety? You can't. Right. If this is true and there is this non-human intelligence, I'm just going to let them into my mind or try to jump into their mind. And their mind is so weak, I can just jump into it. If I can communicate with them and telepathically connect to their craft and bring it down and control it and all this, what can they do to us? Is this a two-way street? Can they control us? Can they lure our craft? Can they telepathically connect to our airplanes or aircraft or space, right? Can they get into our brains? Right? They're the advanced ones, allegedly, but yet we're the ones that can control their craft. And they have set up no security systems that their craft can't be taken over by just us monkeys on planet Earth here. That also makes zero sense to me, if I'm being honest. Just saying. So I don't know. A lot of questions. I love talking about this, and I love the conversation, and I love talking to people that are into it too. Like, I have questions. This is just how I am. So great question, Android, and great discussion. So appreciate you bringing this up. Costas Limneos. What's up, Con? Pat, I'll send you the link of the photo. I found it on Instagram. It's from months ago, by the way, October. Also, FYI, I'm pretty sure that wasn't Dave. No, that looks just like David Grusch. Yeah, it's on Instagram. It's from October. You are correct. It is from October 2024. And yeah, that is it. Yeah, a lot of people found the picture and have been sharing it. Legend. Hola, Patrick. What's your favorite MLB teams? He's coming in with the question out of left field. I don't watch baseball at all, man. But if I had to pick one team, the Texas Rangers, baby. Texas Rangers all the way. What are your favorite teams, Legend? Let me know, man. Let me guess. The Mariners. Censor says, what does it say? Censor Vista Inc. Patrick, do you agree or suspect that Herrera was simply someone who Greer turned so he could draw out Barber and his team? That's an interesting theory. I never heard that. That's interesting. I mean, that would assume that Greer knew Barber was going to show up to this event or knew about Barber before that disclosure event, right? This press club event that he had in June of 2023. But I don't know. Something's going on. Something's definitely going on. A lot of these people talk behind the scenes. They all hang out. They chat. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean there's something dubious going on. But there's definitely planning. And there's definitely, planning of how to come out with this stuff, what to say, telling other people kind of what to say, what the story is. Let's all stick together. Let's all say the same things. Let's all coordinate. It's definitely coordinated. Does that mean it's nefarious? No, but it's definitely planned and coordinated. So take that for whatever you mean behind the scenes. Because if you have Dr. Stephen Greer accusing, let's say, Luis Elizondo of being a disinformation agent, right? Literally a double agent, not good, a traitor, if you will. I mean, essentially, that's what Stephen Greer is calling Luis Elizondo. And then, but Greer is working with Barber, and Luis Elizondo sticks up for Barber too. And Barber sticks up for Greer. So what's going on? Right? What's going on behind the scenes? It makes me wonder if these fights that happen in the public, sphere are real. Do they really just get along behind the scenes? There's definitely talks behind the scenes where they'll be like, for the good of disclosure, right? We got to do this or do that. Again, there's a lot of coordination and planning, a lot of gatekeeping, right? The same people that complain about gatekeepers are gatekeepers themselves in a lot of ways. And that's a very interesting dichotomy and something that doesn't get brought up very much and quite fascinating, right? The elusive gatekeepers. It's like, well, the only gatekeepers I know are X, Y, Z, I don't want to name any names, but you know what I mean? It's like, these are the gatekeepers I see in front of me, right? Because there is people behind the scenes who are controlling disclosure for you. Now, in their mind, that maybe they're good intentions. This is what they do. They have the knowledge, so they're going to bring it to you in a certain way to prepare you, right? We can't complain about transparency and then not be transparent. Doesn't make sense, right? Doesn't make sense at all. Leave little breadcrumbs, clues, it's like, what are you doing? What are we doing? What is this? Cloak and dagger? This isn't a movie. Like, just come out and say it. It's so, it's ridiculous sometimes. Android, I love how blunt you are with your thoughts, bro. What else is there? Right. Transparent, man. There's nothing personal that I say. It's just my thoughts. It's just how I feel. If you were sitting right in front of me, I'd say the same thing. And I would say the same thing to these people in front of them. I've never been one to be coy or hold back how I feel about something direct to somebody's face. I see no other way than to just be honest and truthful up front, right? There's nothing worse than like a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? There's nothing worse than that to me. So, yeah. And I appreciate Android. You're also very honest about how you feel about things and what you stick up for. And I respect that about people. I respect people who have feelings and opinions about things and stick up for it. I actually respect that. I may disagree and not argue, but debate a little bit, but I respect that person because they're standing up for what they believe in, and I can respect that. Same way I respect what I believe in, you know what I mean? But I respect other people and their beliefs, their opinions. Again, I like playful dialogue and playful kind of back and forth on this. It's honestly the best part of this UFO community. Like, I need something to attach myself to in this field because otherwise it gets overwhelming, right? It gets overwhelming. The amount of stuff that comes out and BS that comes out, it is so, you can get very down in the dumps and get what we call the UFO blues very easily because your expectations are up here and then the delivery is down here and you're just disappointed, right? So the one thing I stick to that keeps me, active and excited about this topic is the ability to have these discussions about it. Because without those discussions, I have no interest in this. If people don't want to have discussions and debate and kind of go back and forth friendly, respectfully, right? I just want nothing to do with it. If the expectation of me is to just believe things because someone said it, I want nothing to do with this. And if I'm just supposed to believe someone because they're credible, and why would they lie? And this is what I'm out. That's not going to get me to believe anything. The smartest person in the world and the dumbest person in the world have something in common. They're both susceptible to lying, to misperceptions, to, right, misidentifying, misunderstanding things. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter. The smartest person and the dumbest person in the world. Like, we're all susceptible to that. So this idea that, well, they're so-and-so, I mean, that gets me to hear the story. If so-and-so is credible and this, that, like, yeah, okay, I want to hear this person. But that doesn't mean I just outright believe what they say. And that's what is pushed on us in this community. Just believe them. They're credible. These are credible people. And then you hear those credible people go, well, I believe these other credible people because they told me things, right? That's what it always is. Well, they told me and they're credible. I believe them. So then it's like, okay, I got to believe you because you believe them and they're credible. And why would they lie? It's again, it's just this loop, that you can get stuck in. And I get it. It's life is tough, man. Life is tough out there. And we all have a lot of things going on in our lives. We all have a lot of things that we're doing, looking into. Just living life is tough in and of itself, paying bills, taking care of your family, doing your thing. I get it. So again, to each their own, do your own thing. I'm all for it. Me as well. But we should always be able to ask these questions, have respectful dialogue, and question things. And there should be nothing wrong with that. If this thing is true, then you shouldn't care that people question it or are skeptical about it because it's true. Right? Someone can tell me all day the sun doesn't exist to my face. They can tell me all day and okay, well, there's a sun, so whatever. I don't really care that they're telling me that. You know what I mean? Keanu Reeves had a great quote. I think it's him. At least that's how it was shared on social media. But he's like, he said he's gotten to the point in his life where if someone tells him 2 + 2 = 5, he just goes, okay. Why argue with that person? Right? If that's what they think, that's what they think. It's all good. And I agree with that at the end of the day. The older I get, that's how I feel. I don't see the point of, in my daily life, confronting people on their beliefs and this and that. Again, I like having nice conversations about it and giving my beliefs and whatever, but just, shaming them or questioning them for their beliefs I just don't see the point in that. If this is our own individual journey in this life, we should be allowed the freedom to have that journey, whatever that is. Right. But I definitely hate the stigma in the UFO community of don't question things, or you're not ready. It's your fault. Your ego's getting in the way. Some people just can't do it. Maybe you're just one of those people. You're just not smart enough, Patrick. You're just not, left-handed or gay. And you just, just don't have these abilities, or you just, it's like, what? Why can't I just not believe it? Why does there have to be some conspiracy behind why I don't believe or don't see the evidence that you see? Because you're convinced doesn't mean I need to be convinced, and it doesn't make me inferior to not seeing something you see, and vice versa. Just because, I don't see something you see, you could be right and I could be wrong. That's all capable. But this idea of shaming people for their beliefs, again, listen to what I just said, shaming people for their beliefs, because the UFO community loves to cry about, oh, there's a stigma against me if I bring up my experience, or if I talk about something, there's a stigma, I get shamed. Well, guess what? The shame exists on both sides of the coin. If you don't just outright believe these things, you get shamed as well in this community. Right? So I don't know what we're talking about. I just think the shame on all sides needs to stop. Right? I don't shame people for telling me their experience story. I want to hear it. It's interesting. This is a human being in front of me telling me they've experienced something crazy, and I'm interested. But at the same time, why can't I share that I don't necessarily believe it? And why do I even need to believe or not believe? I'm questioning things and just seeing what happens. I don't know if this is true. We can summon orbs on native land on Big Sur, California. I don't know what's going on. And if it's true, it's true. If it turns out to be something that's scientifically proven and globally accepted by society, then I'm in. Yeah, it's that simple. So anyway, all right, guys, I've blabbed enough here. Oh wait, I've got a few more super chats. Let me get these first. Legend, what's your top 5 UFO YouTube videos? I think that's what you meant. You rock. Oh Jesus, dude. I don't. Top 5 UFO YouTube videos. I don't know, man. That's a tough one, dude. I don't know how to answer that, Legend. I'm sorry, brother. I really, I don't even know. Not sure what you mean by that. Do you just mean like UFO videos that are interesting? I'm not sure what you mean, man. My apologies. Hey, Patrick. This is from Paul Oglesby Jr. Hey, Patrick, my dad and I just went on Bledsoe Said So. It would mean a lot if you checked it out. The truth is in the light. Okay. Bledsoe Said So is Ryan Bledsoe's podcast, right? Chris Bledsoe's son. He has a podcast called Bledsoe Said So. And it looks like Paul Oglesby Sr. and Paul Oglesby Jr. went on the show. All right, man. Yeah, I'll look into it for sure. The truth is in the light. Well, I don't know if that's true, man, but I appreciate you saying that. You know what I mean? It's all good. Yeah, there's also this thing of like, Patrick, if one day you'll see the light, you'll see it, man. It's true. It's happening. It's, you're going to see it one day. It's this idea to convince other people of this truth. Like that mission to convince other people is what makes me very skeptical of people, if I'm being honest. Why do you need to convince other people? If you think it's true, why do you need to convince other people? And it's just a patience. They'll get it one day. They'll get it. We get it. We're special. We get it. They don't get it yet, but one day they will, right? It's like, who cares? Why not just say you believe it? You think it's true. I don't care what other people think. What, you know what I mean? That's a turnoff for a lot of people. If you're trying to get people on board with this, telling them that they'll get it one day, it's kind of like this, bless your heart, it's a Southern thing here, if you know what I'm saying, but Paul, I'll check it out, man. For sure. Appreciate you sending in a super chat too. I hope the conversation went well. Be curious what y'all talked about. Android says, I think I started the Jack Dorsey speculation. If it's not him, it looked like him. Let's play Find the Billionaire Investor of Skywatcher in the pic, LOL. Yeah, no, and that's fair, Android. You know what? I'll bring up that picture one last time because honestly, man, it's a good guess. Right? That's a good guess you made for sure, dude. Let's bring it up. right here. So this guy right here, it looks like him. He's got the beard, the hair the same, kind of the same, but the hair at the top doesn't look. There's more gray in him, but it does look like him. I mean, I wouldn't make a bet either way, if I'm being honest. So I'm not saying it's not him. And there's definitely, according to Ross Coulthart, billionaires there, because this is the event that Ross Coulthart talked about. So there was definitely billionaires there. I mean, you've got Alex Clokus there, obviously very wealthy. So there's clearly billionaires in the audience, right, at this thing, investing in this. I mean, Logan Paul is an investor. How many other people are investors in this thing? All right. So no, that's a good guess, dude. And it wouldn't surprise me if he was there, to be honest with you. So, and I think that's the fun of this community too, doing these kind of things, right? What else do we have? It's not like we have an ET craft to all go visit together. Hey guys, meet you at the museum in Chicago to see the UFO. You know, that we can't do that. Let's go see the alien bodies, guys. There's an exhibit coming through town. We'll go see the alien body. That doesn't exist. So all we're left with are these kind of things. Speculating, looking at pictures, right? That's all we have. So Android, I say have at it, dude. And I think it was a great guess. And it's and it still could be. If it came out that was Jack Dorsey, again, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I mean, it does look like him. I don't think it's him, but I don't know, you know, at the end of the day. So great questions, great conversation, y'all. Appreciate everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed today's live stream. I had a lot of fun, rambled a lot. My apologies. But this is a good conversation. Again, I enjoy these sort of things, right? Respectful, open dialogue. Let's talk about this. Well, you know, none of us know the answers. None of us have all the answers. No one. Anyone claiming to have all the answers is lying. Anyone. Jake Barber, Skywatcher, David Grusch, whoever, Ross Colt, any of these guys, Skywatcher, if they're claiming to have all the answers, they're lying. No one has all the answers. And even they have to admit that even if they think that's true, it could still not be true, right? They could be being deceived as well. And if they're not open to that, that's why when they say 100% is true, you lost me. 100%? I don't think so. Now, if you said 99%, we're pretty sure, that would be more believable. But you lose people when it's like, nope, this is the truth and there is nothing else and you don't know what you're talking about. Okay. All right. We should all be open to being wrong, myself included, but so should they. It sounds nice to tell us skeptics or other people who are skeptical about what's going on. Oh, you know, leave yourself a path out. Oh, there is no path. I just, if it's true, it's true. And if it's not, it's not. There's no leave myself a path out. Like, what are we talking about? Right? Proof and evidence is pretty clear. I'm willing to accept it. It's not that, you know, it's not that I'm being shown something that's so obviously real and I'm just denying it. You know, everything's just, you need a leap of faith to get there. Right? You hear the story about the children from Germany who can perform telekinesis. See, I need a leap of faith to get to believe that. Because one, I don't know the children, didn't see the experiments, don't know anything, just what he's saying. So I'm just supposed to believe that? That's a leap of faith, y'all. Right? Ross Coulthart saying, well, I filmed this, you know, person doing this blind reading about it, you know, but I can't show it. And this, okay, well, that's a leap of faith for me to believe that. I get it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Belief is a personal journey. I'll just leave it at that. All right, y'all. Hope you enjoyed today's stream. Thank y'all so much. We'll see you guys on the next video. I've got some more videos coming out today. So one last thing I'll say real quick. If you want to join our Patreon, there's a link in the description of every video. I'll put it down there today too. I basically put up early. You can get early access to all the daily videos that I do, essentially ad-free, early access, hours before they go out. So if you just really want to be on top of things, join our Patreon and you can get all the videos way earlier every day. And sometimes extra videos that don't go out. You can get to see those too. So anyway, all right, y'all. We'll see you guys on the next one. I'm sure there's going to be a big discussion going to Discord. So head over to our Discord channel and you can chat with people there, open mic. Make sure to join me tomorrow. I will be in Discord tomorrow. hanging out. I'm actually going to be doing an experiment. I'm going to be recording a podcast in our Discord open mic. So if you want to come and ask me a question, I'm going to be recording it. So it's a new podcast I'm thinking about doing. I'm just going to do a little test. So if you want to come hang out, join the Discord, join today, hang out, but definitely tomorrow we'll be there. So, all right, y'all. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you to the mods in the chat, and thank you to all the vetters for hanging out and enjoying this. So, all right, y'all. We'll see you on the next one. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep.